You explode out of the sand at midnight, eyes full of stinging grit, and two brutal truths slap you at once. First, the tropical moonlight feels more like a heat lamp. Sand temps have been running so hot that almost every hatchmate around you is female. Second, the universe has scheduled an all-you-can-eat buffet, and you're the entree. But lying still means dying still. So you run. If a flailing scramble on flippers the size of corn chips can be called running. Ghost crabs skitter like armored thieves. Gulls hover, circling the world's smallest takeout counter. Somewhere behind the dunes, neon bar signs drown the stars, and every misplaced light is a fake horizon begging you to crawl inland and dry out like dropped seaweed. Tonight, evolution hands no cheat codes, only a timer that says reach the surf in 60 seconds or less. Every wave sounds like salvation until it retreats. Every shadow looks like jaws. A ghost crab snags your sibling, dragging her sideways into a hole. You don't slow. Heroes become hors d'oeuvres here. At the final stretch, foam slides forward and lifts you into a new element that's colder, heavier, and somehow safer. Salt floods your nostrils, and for the first blessed moment in your 8-minute life, nothing is actively trying to devour you. Almost nothing. In the dark water lurk snappers, needlefish, and barracuda, predators that treat hatchlings like popcorn shrimp. You duck beneath floating pumice, instinct screaming stay small, stay gray, stay moving. The beach lights fade, the ocean swallows you whole. But vanishing is the easy part. Staying vanished? That's an art form. Drop a baby turtle into a vast Atlantic gyre, add a dash of sargassum seaweed, and you've got the recipe for 3 years of invisibility scientists once called the lost years. Satellite tags finally spilled the secret in 2024. Youngsters hitch rides on mats of golden algae, letting the Gulf Stream do the heavy lifting while they snack on shrimp larvae and shelter from toothier commuters. The raft is equal parts cafeteria and minefield. 1 minute, you're sampling jellyfish medusas that taste like wobbly sugar water. The next, you're dodging a mahi-mahi charging through the weed like a living torpedo. Somewhere overhead, a storm shakes the seaweed into brown confetti and you tumble, powerless, until calm returns. No parents text with advice, no siblings stick around. Solitude is standard issue. Yet the floating jungle teaches survival better than any school. Never linger, never glow, stab first, and ask 0 questions. By your first birthday, you've doubled in size and carved out a personal tangle of weeds so dense even frigate birds give up after 2 dives. Then one dawn you bite the wrong jelly, because it's not a jelly. It's a scrap of clear film swirling like a transparent ghost. A sister turtle once starred in a viral clip with a straw jammed up her nostril. The internet shouted and bans bloomed overnight. But straws are barely a decimal of ocean plastic. The real killers are fishing lines, 6-pack rings, and invisible microfragments laced through every gulp of seawater. You cough, if turtles could cough, and spit the film, lucky this time. Friends aren't. Some drift belly up, gut packed with pellets that smelled like dinner. Others hydrophyte ghost nets, lose, and sink. Humans invented turtle excluder devices to keep trawls from grinding you alive, but that miracle only matters if the boat bothered to install the gear, or if the inspector showed up that morning. Survival now feels like a coin toss in hurricane winds. You learn to taste, test, and sometimes starve rather than gamble on plastic. Fast forward a couple years. You're horse-sized compared with your hatchling self. Shell longer than a skateboard, jaws strong enough to shear seagrass or crunch crabs. But while you bulked up, something ugly crept in. Pale tumors blooming along your flippers like underwater warts. Fibropapillomatosis, FP for short, has no mercy and questionable cure. Scientists call it a panzootic cancer spreading faster than funding can follow. Some turtles fight it off, others go blind or lose speed until sharks finish the job. You head north, trusting cooler waters and cleaner currents might suppress the sickness. On the way, you dog paddle past floating trash islands, oil sheens thin as cellophane, and cruise liners dropping the occasional forbidden waste bag. Nothing about the teenage years is fair, least of all for a turtle. Healing comes slowly, but curiosity moves faster. Magnetic signatures whisper through your nerves like a secret song, and you follow it across whole oceans. Scientists still argue exactly how. Iron particles in your brain, or quantum senses that measure Earth's field like a living compass. Either way, 8,000-kilometer migrations are just commute to work in turtle language. You cross trenches deep enough to hide Mount Everest, surf eddies big as nations, and glide over coral cathedrals where mantas swirl. Tuna shadow you for days, using your bulk to break current drag. Pilot fish nibble parasites from your shell and call it rent. Out here, borders are myths and time zones irrelevant. Only 3 coordinates matter: food, rest, and reproduction. When equatorial water warms to bath temperature, every adult turtle suddenly thinks about dating. Males shadow females like barnacles with boundary issues. Grappling matches turn flippers into grappling hooks. Beaks scrape shells in jealous etiquette nobody asked for. You, a now healthy female, tolerate the circus because biology refuses negotiation. The chosen male clings through rolling surf as you head for ancestral beaches, sands you haven't seen since hatching, but could locate blindfolded. Navigation isn't memory, it's magnetic address. Far offshore, shrimp trawlers drag nets wide as football fields. Some rigs include mandatory escape hatches that pop turtles out like pinballs. Others skip compliance, gambling fines against profits. On a moonless night, you slam into nylon walls, find the hatch by luck, and break free with 2 flipper strokes. Somewhere behind, a less fortunate cousin becomes bycatch statistics. Land rise ahead smells of dunes, cordgrass, and old sun. You heave ashore, weights of water surrendering to gravity. Digging kicks sand like slow thunder. Scoop, sweep, tamp. 95 eggs drop like ivory pearls. You disguise the nest with an artisan's flair, erasing tracks so perfectly a detective crab couldn't guess the crime scene. Elsewhere, humans count nests with smartphones and cautious joy. Kemp's Ridley turtles just smashed a Texas record, proof that protection works when politics behaves. Yet climate's loaded dice threaten to bake every clutch into sisterhoods with 0 brothers. Conservationists test shade tents, artificial rainfall, even transplanting sand by night to cool incubators. Success is local, danger global. Returning to sea, you feel emptier in the best possible way. Parenthood, for turtles, means trust the odds and swim away before sentiment sets in. Your hatchlings will fight their own ghost crabs soon enough. Seasons wheel, hurricanes rearrange beaches, currents rewrite maps. You might live 50, maybe 80 years if luck and legislation hold. But projections whisper a weird future. Beaches too hot for suns, oceans too acidic for shell making, and plastic outweighing fish before you're done laying eggs. Still, numbers in some rookeries trend upward. New reserves lock entire coastlines behind protection. Communities replace poaching income with eco-tour dollars. So will the next century host thriving turtle dynasties or lonely matriarchs in a feminized sea. The answer rides every choice between convenience and conscience humans make this decade. For now, a single wave hoists you skyward. Moonlight scatters across your shell, and you dive, unhurried, unbowed, still playing the longest game on Earth. Because the ocean doesn't need optimists or pessimists, it needs survivors. And for one more night, that's exactly what you are.